Ndwedwe and the Ilembe districts will be providing services to all factions of the Shembe Church. So we thought then to use this opportunity to get to understand the history of the church outside of the controversies that it may have, in an effort to educate both ourselves and others on their existence and how they got to even where they are today. To help us navigate this issue and this discussion, we are joined on the line by Dr. Ngoki Emmanuel Mahaye, who is the chairperson of the Isiqabetho, which is a division in the division of scholars, in the Shembe Church. Dr. Ngoki, good morning. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, good morning, KG, and your SFM listeners and producer Nebo. How are you this morning?
I'm very well, thank you very much. So, how did the Shembe Church start, and who is the founding father of the church?
Thank you so much, KG, for inviting us in such an August program of its own kind. It's my solemnity to me that is pledged a divine intervention to our church. The founder of the church is Isaiah Shembe. I would apologize to His Holiness Unyazi for calling the founder of the church by his name, but for listeners and those people who have keen interest in our religion, suffice to say, they should know that Isaiah Mloiswa Muzama Shembe is the founder of the church. Although as scholars we want to emphasize that the founder himself is Umbelinqambi, God, who mandated Isaiah Shembe to initiate the Nazareth Baptist Church, because Nazareth religion was there in ancient times when God created earth and heaven.
So how old is the church, Dr. Ngoki?
We are now more than 100 years as the church, since the church was established in 1910.
So how is, I also ask the apology of the listeners who are Shembe Church followers for saying the name Isaiah, but how is he perceived by the followers of the church? Do they, for example, see him as a prophet? Do they see him as the Messiah? Or do they see him as almost head pastor of the church? How do they perceive him?
The congregation or the followers of Shembe Church, in fact, is the Nazareth Baptist Church. Mm-hmm. So its founders, Shembe, the name Shembe descended from heaven. It's not just a surname or just an ordinary; it's a divine name. As I said, that Isaiah Shembe was mandated by Jehovah to resuscitate certain beliefs. So normally people used to call him prophet. But there are many names that are being used. Others they say Isiqabetho, others they say Isiqabetho, others they say many names, but the prophet was relevant to the understanding of the people of that particular period. We remember that as the church, we have got our own prolong that we used to cite, more especially when we embark on the Sabbath prayer, which says the service for the commemoration of generation, the commemoration of morning, and the commemoration of God. Then the church will say what we call Isiqabetho. After that, that Isiqabetho goes in tandem with Isiqabetho, which says there is no that created us,
Mm-hmm.
no mother who breastfed us. It is Jehovah alone.
Wow.
And verse 16 of the same prayer from the Sabbath service says, "In His mercy, Jehovah received us from our own straying away from His law, as that we could resume our places as His children. After all, we are His children."
Yeah.
That KG says that whatever name that you attach to Shembe is irrelevant, because He was said to receive us from our straying from His law. When you see those words that He cited, it's exactly there in the scripture, which is Exodus 20, verse 7 to 8, and Deuteronomy 5, verse 12, as well as Luke 23, verse 54.
Okay, so the text that you quote is the text from the Bible, and I assume I have to ask the question: do you have your own sort of text that you generally use, or is it the Bible that you use? And I also have to ask another question because you say the church is called the Nazareth Baptist Church, but then abantu abasonta khona bazothi ngisonta kaShembe, or have I got that incorrect?
You are 100% correct. Abantu bayosho njalo because, as I've explained, sengichazile ukuthi igama leShembe liqhamukaphi. Igama leShembe liwubuNkulunkulu ebuNkulunkulu obuthathu in the Trinity. It's the Holy Spirit. That's why that Holy Spirit that we are following moved from one Shembe to another Shembe. It started with Isaiah Shembe.
Yes.
We called him Umqadi, followed by Ilanga Lamalanga, J.G. Shembe, Johannes Galile Shembe, followed by A.K. Shembe, Amos Kura Shembe, who is the third one. The fourth one is Utingo Lwenkosazane. And now we are led by Unyazi Lwezolo. That spirit moved or transformed from one Shembe as the body to another.
Yeah.
Because we are following that Shembe spirit.
Okay.
That
Okay.
God commanded or mandated to resuscitate in the Nazareth.
Okay.
The Nazarene. The
Okay.
Nazareth.
Okay.
And they are called the Nazareth Baptist Church.
Okay, but then as we're having this conversation, you and I, Dr. Ngogi, there's varied formations. I don't want to use the word factions, just in case it comes across as disrespectful. There's varied formations or, groups of the Shembe Church. As you're speaking to me now, are you fully representative of them in totality, or are you speaking from one of the five?
I'm speaking one from the five. I'm speaking from the perspective that is from Ebuhleni, that is led by Inkosi or His Holiness Lord Unyazi Lwezolo.
Are you allowed to tell me the names of the other four, or you would rather not?
I would rather not, although I know that there are five formations. To me, that is not the case, because the history of a myriad of churches, either from the Orthodox perspective or from the charismatic perspective, there were certain divisions, there were certain groupings. To me, they are part and parcel of life. But what we follow what our devotions, what our evolutions direct us to follow. You know why? Because faith is the process of constructive knowing and understanding person's composition and maintenance of comprehensive frame of thinking. So that led a supernatural compass to a person to follow a particular religion.
Okay.
To me, we are following Unyazi because of our own volition.
Okay, I understand that. So then, I mean, part of why we wanted to have this discussion is there's this climbing the mountain, the pilgrimage of climbing the mountain around this particular time of the year. The images, we see images on television, we hear people talk about it. Tell me about the significance of the climbing of the mountain and whether or not each group goes to its mountain, or how does it work?
Starting from where you are ending, other groupings go to Nhlangakazi. We are going to Canaan, which is the biggest grouping with more than 11.5 million followers. We are going to Canaan. But the significance, the essence, the vital importance of this holy pilgrimage, this holy walk, emanates from the fact that God created man in his image and gave him dominion over everything on earth. That is the greatest status given to all human beings who live here on earth, to have dominion over everything. So men have, however, sacrificed their status and allow things that they should have dominion over to have dominion over them. So by doing so, they abdicated their responsibilities, something that disappointed God. So God made covenant with his people. So we made a covenant with Moses. So when Shembe founding the church, Isaiah Shembe, uthi wasibuyisela kuye ekwedukweni kwethu ngalawa amazwi esabatha ukuze sibuyele kuyisebe ngabatana bakhe njengoba sasingabatana bakhe kakade. So by saying so, Shembe is putting emphasis, receiving us from our strain, getting back to basics in terms of Christianity or any religion that exists in the world. So Shembe came to resuscitate that, then started this pilgrimage, as it is there in the Bible, in Balo 10, verse 33. So this is a holy walk. That holy walk is bringing us back to God. That holy walk, we use it to revive our spirit, to resuscitate our divine spirit, and to fight against any curses, to pray for the nation, to pray for all the diseases, to pray for the sarcastic battles that our nation is facing, like COVID-19, like floods and stuff. Without this holy walk that is prolonged or moved in a displaced or distant manner up to at least 95 kilometers. The essence of that walk is critically important, not to Shembe believers only or Shembe followers only, but to the entire nation, to the entire continent, in the entire world. This is critical, important, because it's delicate for the lives of other people.
Okay. I'm going to go to a quick commercial break, but before I go, I want to ask a short question about why the significance of the walk happening at this time of the year. We know, for example, the Christians will have their Christmas on the 25th of December. Why is the pilgrimage happening at this time of the year? What's the significance of this time of the year?
Okay.
Okay. You can reply when we come back, Dr. Ngoki. Let's take a quick commercial break. It's 10:51 on Safm.
We are everywhere for everyone. Oh.
I was asking before we went to break, Dr. Ngoki, about why now? Why does the pilgrimage have to happen at this time of the year?
No, thank you so much, KG. Why at the beginning of the year is because our church is founded on certain principles. There are three narratives that God employed to his founder, Isaiah Shembe, as I alluded. That mandate carried three strands in the main. The Zulu traditional and religious life, which emanates from ancient origin, which are inclusive of groupings from different kinds of African people into one distinct ethnicity. Here I mean the Pyjamas, Mbuti, the Nilots, the Bantus, and the Ethiopians. You remember that they were divided into Western Bantu, Central Bantu, Highland Bantu, and Southern Bantu. So, as a church, we also take into consideration or into confidence the cosmic order. The cosmic order is saying a lot about the universe. Remember, I said the way Shembe came from heaven and descended to Mayelisa, to say move from Wateza to another place, and you are going to change the name. You are no longer going to be called Kumalo. You are going to be called Shembe, as if it's a combatant name. So when the year begins, the universe itself renew itself, start afresh. So out of the Zulu tradition narrative, there is that. There is also a colonial context that I will not go deep on that because it was founded on a colonial context of early 1900. Remember the church, the relationship between Umqalwendlela and J.L. Dube and the principles of Prince Leadership. So when the year starts, there is a Hematic philosophy, which is the source of African philosophy. You remember that the Chamber Church also used the third narrative, which is the Bible. But it is founded on African philosophy, on African religion. So if the principles of Met were respected, Shembe were not supposed to be here. But people of God, Israel, defied God's instruction to follow him. So to balance the universe, Shembe resuscitated 42 divine principles of God. We call 45 principles of divine God, which was summarized in the Torah in the Mount Sinai through Moses. It was consolidated into 10 commandments.
Yeah.
But those were 42 principles of divine God. So when the year begins, we took prayer. We remember as a nation, we are coming from Northern Africa, Central Africa, then we are here. We take prayer. When the year begins, there is a prayer that we take. That prayer will repeat it throughout the journey. So that whole pilgrimage becomes a long journey that resembles what is said by Moses, instructed by God when leading Israel to go to a particular mountain. They took 3 days. Hence, the Chamber Church started on the third and finished their journey yesterday. Exactly 3 days.
Yeah. I can't allow our discussion to end, though, without asking why you broke up into the 5 groups. What happened? And if at all there's ever a possibility of, what's the right word I could use, reconciliation of the 5 groups?
No, thank you so much. Although I will not delve much on that, because it's something, as you have said, that has created a negative pandemonium in the church. But the groupings are, as I've said, people they follow as per their volition, as per their faith. So you can't decide for them. Hence, there are these groupings because when Shembe that is in the hand passed on a kotama esithi ukuthi ngokushintsha ibhanji. Sometimes uma ishintshe ibhanji abanye bayebona ngendlela ukuthi ngenza ukuthi umoya ingcwele umuka wenza lo umoya ongcwele muveza lo. So lokho create ukuthi bese kwa ama-grouping. But ushembe uyombona ngemisebenzi yakho because we only follow imisebenzi izimangaliso ayinikwe uNkulunkulu ukuthi azenze. We don't follow inyama, the flesh. We follow shembe, the spiritual shembe rather than the physical shembe. But automatically the spiritual shembe will exist in the physical shembe. Hence we follow that leader.
Yeah, so I suppose good luck.
But in terms of reconciliation,
yes,
in terms of reconciliation and stuff, is something that God Himself should make us to ponder on, because that you are coming from different groupings does not mean that we are enemies. We are not enemies.
And
we have got a right to belong in any religion or in any church, whom you see, there is God there. I cannot say you are right or you are wrong. But those who are right are those who are strictly following that spirit that I've mentioned.
Okay. Good luck then for the pilgrimage, and thank you for making the time to come and clarify. There were myths I wanted to ask about the Shembe Church, but I think we've completely run out of time. And thank you very much, Dr. Ngogi. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, KG, and your listeners. May God bless you, and the entire country should be blessed by this time, and we hope a lot of things are going to be healed. Thank you.
We hope the same for you. Thank you. Kamogelo Teledi is standing by with the latest news on Safm.